Self-belief. Self-belief is something that is very, very important. It's very important on your journey, and it's very important generally in life to have self-belief in your life. It's very important to have self-belief in yourself. I mean, that's why it's called self-belief. I mean, you could have belief, but having self-belief is super, super important. And let me kind of go back through and I've done isolation. I've touched on a lot of different things. I've touched on isolation. I've touched on going to war with yourself. And all of them are all kind of just connected together. Like sitting here and telling you guys about self belief is all going to be connected. So these are all kind of universal principles for everything. But mainly, I look at self belief and going to war with yourself and things like that coincides with this. So, how would I say you get self belief? How I got my self belief is you almost want to go ahead and do strong challenges. So, whether it's something you don't want to do, whether it is something difficult, whether it is things like that, it's going to be hard things. And I talked about trusting your process, and trusting your process is so important because this is what you get. You get self-belief from trusting your process because I had anxiety when I was, 16, 15, 16 years old, and it still comes and goes here and there. There's still things, that get me nervous or I have anxiety over. But what I did was I started running. I started putting myself in uncomfortable positions to therefore feel that feeling and then learn how to get over that. Learn how to get over it. So, like, my thing is I would get nervous, I don't feel well, and that's kind of what would then progress it. Where if it was something I'm going to because I know I'm not going to feel well doing it, that would kind of create a nervous tension and a nervous energy for me. And so running, especially running in the heat and just running in general, you feel like you're going to just throw up at a point. It's not that you do, I never did, but it was psychologically pushing myself past the feeling of feeling like I'm going to throw up, feeling the disgusting and the pain, and you get past that. I would get a major adrenaline spike. Like, my adrenaline would go through the roof. I feel amazing because I went through that hard challenge and got over that. So that's why it's so important to trust your process. Look at your process, and if they're difficult things and things like that, it's overcoming that is then going to instill belief in you. Trusting your process, looking at the things that you do and how you do them. Like, and that's why I think working out is so big, like even running, just exercising in general, because it pushes you past a comfortable state. And it's how far and how mentally strong are you to get past that. So for an example, it would be like, how far are you willing to run? Are you gonna run, or are you gonna, you're gonna run and get past it, or are you going to quit? Because when you quit, it becomes a sense of, it's a negative emotion against yourself. It's a negative emotion against yourself because you go ahead and you quit, and when you quit, it becomes a psychological seed that's planted now, where it's like you quit, it's a negative emotion, it puts you in a negative state of mind, and it makes you, so it's pushing past those uncomfortable things. When you quit, that's going to put you in a negative state of belief because you quit mentally, psychologically. Now you have a negative emotions and negative things. So even if I would look at it, how long it's uncomfortable is, even if you do quit, you can like be like, I want to survive 30 seconds. So let's say you feel really gross about running or whatever it is, you go 30 seconds and then you bow out. The next time you go 45 seconds, next time you go a minute. So you just start to progress like that, and you get over these uncomfortable things. And once you start hitting and getting out of these uncomfortable things, now you start feeling confident about yourself. Like, when I started running and started getting over like anxiety that I had, it was like a confidence came over me. I started feeling more confident in my life, and then I just slowly kind of just eradicated it and stopped being it. It ceased to exist in like my everyday life. Now there's still certain things that are there that you still have to combat, But it's like just putting yourself in those uncomfortable positions, you learn to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, and that's going to build self belief because now you know when the going gets tough, you're able to push through it. You're able to push through it. And I had times, just in a general consensus, maybe I had a bad day at work or it's a bad workout or I'm really tired and I just push through it. Just pushing through it gives you a win. And it's little wins along the way. You're going to fail. Everyone's going to fail. And you want to look at failure as something that, okay, maybe you didn't, a failure, how do I want to word this? I think if you look at a failure as, okay, I failed. We talked about the comeback, coming back and getting to do it again. And then you just get to keep repetitioning that until you get it because you're never going to start perfect at anything. Like, I think another example you could do, I mean, when you start driving, it's a humbling experience because it's a new skill. It's something that seems really daunting, but it's like you just repetition it, and you just start to get familiar. That is where the belief comes into play, when you get that self-belief. And it's huge. It's huge where I listen to specific people. I talk about UFC fighters on here all the time. Listening to Topuria and the things that he was saying where he's like, I feel like I win the championships in the training and then I just go out there and participate in the fight and get it done. And then I sat there and I thought about that and I really broke it down. I'm like, his self-belief comes in because he knows how hard he's pushing him through camp. He knows how brutal it is, how tough it is, how resilient he is in his mind in the camp. So when he goes into the fight, he's like, it's only 25 minutes. I'm getting my ass kicked for, 60 minutes, 30 minutes, 35 minutes in the gym every single day. So I know when I get there, it's a different story. So stacking easy wins. That's like the number one to get that self-belief. Stack easy wins, get uncomfortable with the uncomfortable, and you will start to just gain confidence because it becomes a point where you just start going in there and getting things you don't like, or even just working out where it's like a hard set to failure or it's a hard set and you push through it. It becomes such a skill. It's a skill you have to learn, pushing through things when the going gets tough. But then that mental reserves and that mental fortitude is so strong now. You're like, this is me doing this, me going after my goal. This is nothing because I'm going through here and I'm going and attacking these challenges, and it's a rough day and I know how rough it's going to be, but I know with the little wins that I got along the way, I know how strong I am. I know how strong I am. I know even if I held a minute, that's better than what I did the last time. And then you just keep stacking up wins. And that's the important thing, is don't even look at failure as something negative, because everyone's going to go through a failure. And we talked about the comeback. It's, when you get to come back, that's the best experience, when you get to come back. So all these videos apply to this, but this one's huge because to me, if you don't, it right off the bat, it's really tough because you're going to fail. And it's like, how do you keep that positive state of mind and that self-belief when you fail? Is you get to get back up and do it again, and you're going to do it until you get it right. Because it can only be, the more you do it, the better you're going to get at. So you can fail 100 times, 101 time you get it right, then you're going to get it right 100 times out of that, and it's going to be no problem. It's going to be no problem from there on. So gaining self-confidence is huge, and it's also comes with positive self-talk, things like that. But the huge thing is, and the huge thing I think is getting wins. Don't even, I think, look at the loss, calculate it, look at where you went wrong, come back, assess it, and do it again. And if you fail again, you come back and do it again. And you know what that also builds mental fortitude. It builds mental fortitude to keep coming back and doing something again even though you're not good at it. So if I'm sitting here and it's just practice. When they say practice makes perfect, it makes perfect. It makes it, those repetitions and those hard things early on, that's what it is. There's a quote out there, I don't know who says it, but it's something along the lines like, I failed. A winner is just somebody who failed a couple more times and got back up and did it again. So that's the mental fortitude, is that you're losing, but you know that you're getting better from that. And that's going to gain self-confidence, because when you go into anything The thing that you can learn the best is learning how to fail and again come back from that. But it builds that self-confidence, and then if you walk into something whether you know it or not and just believe that you can do it, you don't need to care. You don't have to even think about what anyone else is going to say. What matters to it, if you're like, I know who I am, I know the challenges I've gone through and the adversity that I've had to face, and I know when that going gets tough, I will push through that adversity and I will push through it and I can come out on top. Nobody can take that away from you. There's nobody that can. Nobody can take that away from you. And then when you go into any situation, it's, I know what my resume is. I know the things that I've been through, the things I thought that would break me, that I came back from. Now I have that ability where I walk in anywhere and I think I can achieve anything because I've gone through this. I can, you can just go in there and list them off. Like in David Goggins' book, he's like, have a mental cookie jar, sit there and think of the things that you've done right. And then that's just gonna build that self-confidence. Going out there and pushing yourself is something not a lot of people do. And then the fact that you're doing it almost every day, or you just do it to do it. Like, I'm walking my neighborhood and I had somebody, he's like, man, you pick like the hottest time to come out. And it's like, just because of my time and things, I just go kind of at like 6 when the sun's setting and it's kind of hot and everything. I'm like, it's also a mental fortitude. It's because I don't want to be out here and I don't want to walk in the heat, but I want to face that heat. I want to face that heat. I want to face the things that I would be afraid of, because I'm just gonna come out here and I'm gonna say I've passed out before. I've passed out. So I'm like, I just want to get out of that mental negativity where I passed out in 2024, and I'm like, I want to get back to feeling confident in the heat. And last year I did, this year, and it still comes, but it's like, it's a big thing for me to go out there and push myself and get through that heat and get that exercise in and face those elements. So now it's like, if I have to face that or whatever I have to face, I'm like, I know I can push through it, and I know mentally I'm getting to that strong. That's really what self-belief is. It's walking out there and knowing you can do it, and it's that positive self-talk. It's like, I know I can do this, I know I can do it, I know I can do it. Even if you have no mental basis of what you're doing, you're just like, I know the work that I'll put in, I know my work ethic, I know no matter what, I'm gonna go until I can't go no more, and I'm gonna push it past everything that I can to reach the goals that I want to reach the things I want to reach in life. And I think it's one of these things where it is a skill that you have to acquire. But looking at these moments of success that you've had, and even looking at the failures as well, look at the failures, because you're like, look at where I failed and look at where I'm at now. Like, I put the mouthpiece in, and I'm still going out there and I'm still swinging in the 5th round. I'm still going out there and I'm still trudging. I'm losing the plot here, guys, but just pushing through and attacking it, even know that you might fail, is something so big. And that is what self-belief is. It's a point, no matter if I win, lose, or fail. Like, if I win, I'm still going to be confident, and if I lose, I'm still going to be confident. And you have to just have that level of mindset. It's like, you have to look at it from a standpoint of, oh, I sat there, I lost, but I'm going to come back, I'm going to do it again. And that's why that comeback was so important. But this is more about the repetition. It's more about just repeating that failure until you get it right. It is the mental stamina, and it's really all mental. Like, self-belief is all up here. It's all up here. Everyone, you want to talk about it, but also getting in shape helps. Being in shape, feeling physically fit, eating the right things. When you sit there and you do the right things and you feel like you're doing the right things, there is a sense of pride that comes through it, where it's like, not putting anybody down, but you're thinking, not a lot of people can do this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing it really, really well. I'm working out every day. I'm in the best shape I've ever been in, and everything like that. And even on like a bad day, I'll sit there and I'll tell myself, I go, I don't know why I'm complaining. I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. I'm constantly, just in good shape. Why am I here upset about anything? Why would I be upset? Like, for me, I'm in the best shape that I've ever been in. Like, I'm the best physique I've had, and I'm just constantly improving. And I'm not bragging about anybody, not bragging about myself. I'm bragging about just in general. I go in there and I'm like, I'm in the best shape that I'm in. I go out here and I push hard every day. What is there? Why am I complaining about anything? I'm healthy. I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. I'm constantly improving. Are there things I still want to improve on? Absolutely. So you also want to look in there as well at those negative things. It's a lot of self-talk, and when you get to those negative moments, that negative self-talk can take away that self-belief. But at the end of the day, self-belief is going through those hard challenges, and that's really all it is. That's all it is. It's like in every story, Batman had to go through trials and tribulations to become Batman. Spider-Man had to go through trials and tribulations to be Spider-Man. If you go look at those stories, and you can go look at athletes as well, the work that you have to put in, the things that you have to do to get to that level of point of self-belief. And I'm saying you can sit there and have never done anything, but if you believe you can do it, it's way easier. Even if you don't think you can, if you just say, I believe I can do this, I believe I will sit here and I will push myself to the extreme until I get this done, you can do it. And that's the beautiful thing about the mind, is sitting there telling yourself that you can do it, you can do it. Like, I try not to even tell myself I can't do anything, because I don't want to limit my mind, my mentality like that. I'm like, I can do anything, I just don't want to do that. I know if I put the time, effort in, I can get anything done, because I've seen myself do it. I've been in positions where I've needed to I was in jeopardy of not passing high school. So I had to really focus up, really get good grades, and I knocked it out of the park, and did great, because I put that effort in, and I tried, and I made sure. I was like, I know I can do this. I slacked off those other 3 years, didn't get good grades, didn't do the things that I needed to do, and now I have to live with that fact that I didn't do those things, but I know the work that I can put in. And when I sit there, and I don't think I ever had the ability to work hard per se. Like, I didn't have the work ethic. And starting to run and starting improving my life literally changed my entire outlook on life. I was lazy, unmotivated. Like I said, I had anxiety, and just getting up and starting to run and starting to get in shape gave me so much self-belief in my life. And I feel like it was just, that moment in time was so perfect, because the trials and tribulations that were coming, if I didn't have this period of where I'm starting to get in shape, starting to try to be the best that I can be, I don't think I would have passed high school. I don't think I would have put the work ethic in. I don't think I would have cared enough. And I knew going into my senior year, I was like, I know I'm going to have to lock in. I know I'm going to have to cut out the distractions. And I'm going to cut some certain things out to really focus up on school. And I got all A's and B's. I got like a C maybe once. But I went out there and I did that. And it was like, it's like, I love thinking about it, because it's just cool that I was able to do that. Like, there was a certain score you had to have on a test, and I got it back, and I like blew it out of the water. So it was like only so it was like the second quarter that I got that done. So then I was like, boom, all you got to do is keep your grades up, get your credits, and you're done, and that's all you have to worry about. And it was cool, because I put that work ethic in, and you have to face that. So that's why I look at that moment in my life, and I'm like, that was one of the lowest points in my life. I didn't think I was going to pass. I had other things going on there as well. I had the anxiety. I had, really, really bad acne. It's better now, but like, just like bare minimum in I don't think it was the self-belief, maybe bare minimum self-esteem. I wasn't as confident as I was earlier in the year, but having that self-belief, I know I'm going to do this. I go, there's no way I'm not graduating. There's no way. And I went out there and I did it. And that's my story. go, and that's nothing major. That was, I put myself in that position, but I had to get myself out, and I did. So find something that's, just doing those difficult things, man. It just changes. And I think there's actually, I've heard Huberman, Andrew, I think Andrew Huberman is, what's his name? I think it is Andrew Huberman, or maybe it's not Huberman. It's something along those lines. He, studied Goggins, for example, and was like, yeah, when you go out there and you do tough things, like your brain, it literally gets benefits for you going out there and doing difficult things, and that creates the self belief. And even if you don't do those tough things, and you just believe that you can do it, makes a difference. But I'm saying, when you learn how to do these tough things and you do them, you can walk into anything and go, I've been in positions like this. I've been in tough positions, and I pulled myself out. This was a tough position. Me, having the anxiety, me having not being able to graduate, and I went and I pulled myself out of those situations, and I went out there and I did it. And that's my story. Nobody can take that away from me. That's something that I accomplished, and it was tough for me at that time, but I went out there and I did it, and I didn't even. It was like it was done, and I didn't even care. But I knew that I wasn't. I knew I was going to graduate. I knew it, and it's like, you use those manifestation techniques. Like, I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can do, and it's very powerful. It's very powerful, and it's very inspirational. And that's how you get the self-belief. The self-belief comes from hard work, doing hard things, and just kind of going through tough situations. And you learn it when people are like, we learn how tough somebody is, or you're like, let's see how tough somebody is when that going gets tough. How tough are you? Even if you fail, even if it went miserably, you went through it. Now you get to come back, and you get to, you get that reset of that mind. Everyone goes through something tough, whether you succeed, whether you fail. You look at it, and you gain that confidence of, what, that was the worst case scenario, that was the worst situation. I'm still here. I get to come back, I get to do it again. If you don't come back, you did get to do it again. You're like, I went through that was the worst situation I've had, and I'm still here, and I'm still doing what I'm doing. Now I can come back, and now I can attack anything, because that was the worst of the worst in my mind. And then when you honestly take yourself out of perspectives as well, it's like, that was, for that time, that was like super daunting and scary. And then when you're out of that a month, you're like, wow, that was like nothing. That was nothing. I was so worked up and so over top. I was, over the top, over, whatever. And it was nothing. So I really want to sit here, and I want you guys to take away from this video is gaining that self-belief. Go out there, test yourself, test your will, test your mental fortitude. And again, it's not about winning. It's not about losing. It's not about anything. It's like, just see how far you can do it. That's simple. And you just stack those up. How far, if you do 3 seconds, then the next day you do 7, then the next day you do 11. That is gaining, and that's going to gain the confidence. That's gaining the confidence there. It might not seem like you're gaining confidence, but if you look at it from a point of, that was 4 additional seconds. Maybe I hold a plank for 20 seconds. Next week I'm able to hold it for 23. Then next week I'm able to hold it for 30. Next week I'm able to hold it for 32. Next week I'm able to hold it for 35. And then sooner or later you're holding it a minute, then you're holding it 2 minutes, and you're holding it 3 minutes. Whatever the case may be, you're holding a plank, or anything that you can think of difficult. And you go out there and you challenge yourself, and it's a very respectable thing to go out there and put yourself in an uncomfortable position when you don't need to, because you could just be super comfortable and everything. But when that going gets tough and everything gets tough, that's where you get that self-belief from. That's where you get it. And you keep that positive mindset, and you keep that positive attitude. It's very difficult. I'm not going to claim I was perfect at it, because I wasn't. But if you just keep that belief with you, and you believe you can do it, and you're like, I know what I'm capable of, I know the things that I can do, you can get through this. Even if it's like, I can get through this, I can get through this, I can get through this, and you just keep repeating that mantra to yourself, you learn tricks and things along the way. So gaining self-belief it's something that I think people do struggle with, and it is something that is struggling with because it's like everyone, you kind of have like a limited mentality. You know, you're like, oh, I could never do that. Like, I don't even, I say that, I'm like, why do I say that I could never do that? I think if I put all my chips on that, I could. If I went and really focused and put that hard work, I think I could do that. And that's the self belief at the end of the day. It's not, and it does come off cocky, it does come off arrogant, but the one thing is that you know who you are. It's your self belief, and it's what you believe in. If you, I believe that I could go and do something and be really good at it because I know it could take me a year, it could take me two. But at the end of the day, I know I'm going to put that work in. I know my work ethic. I know I won't quit on it. And that's something that even younger, you know, the quitting. And I'm like, I'll quit on it. I used to quit. You know, I used to go do like flag football, quit. I did like kickboxing, quit. So like, I used to quit things, and it's like now it's like I want to not quit things. I want to, you know, even if I do have to bow out, I want to try to stay as long as I can until it's enough and I'm done. Like a running or walking or working out or whatever you can find that is going to be difficult in a mental fortitude. And then, you know, I just end up liking it. You know, like I find something that I like, and it's every day. It's not like every day I want to do it. You know, I'm sure not every day somebody wants to get up and go to work, but you get up and you go to work anyway. That is the literally same thing, but with something difficult. And you just do that over a state of time. You start to callous that mind. You start to sit there and become more confident in yourself. That's the big thing. And that's how I think you get confidence. If you sit there, you do tough things, you get out of your comfort zone. If you get out of your comfort zone, and let's say, for example, you know, I went and saw The Odyssey, and I will be reviewing that. The review might be up before this or might be up after this. It's going to be somewhere in there that I went and saw The Odyssey, went and saw it by myself, and I'm not a really big fan of going to the movies, and I got out of my comfort zone, I went and did that, and then that creates confidence in yourself. You're like, I went and did something I didn't think I could do, and then you can even look back, I didn't think I could have done that 6 months ago, and I went and did it with, you know, I struggled a little bit, because it was weird being by myself or whatever the case may be, but you build and you stack up those small wins that ultimately create self-belief. And that's hope what everyone takes away today. Take away the self-belief, do tough things, reap the rewards. It's uncomfortable, and that is why, you know, it is a little bit difficult. It's difficult, but that's what's going to create it. I mean, I'm sure you could create self-belief and be very confident maybe without it, but I think that's where it comes from. I don't think you can be very confident, and then I think that's where it becomes cocky, where if you're like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, and then you get there and you can't do it, then it's like, oh, that's the ego thing. But it's like when you put in the work and then you think you can do something, it's not an ego thing. It's like you legitimately believe it. If you're just saying it to say it, it's one thing. If you're like, but sometimes you're overconfident, and that's what it is you get too overconfident, that ego gets in the way, and you bite off more than you can chew, and you do get humbled, but then you look at that and you're like, you know what, I'll come back and I'll do it again. And I'll do it again and I'll get better. That's all. I'll get better. And I know, boom, found my mistake. I'm going to come back, I'm going to get better. I still believe I'm this, I still believe I'm that. And that's the most important thing, and I hope you guys take that away from this episode. I hope you guys enjoy. You guys have a blessed Monday. Get after it. Work hard. Hope you guys enjoy your week.